Hey everybody, I'm Shane.
I'm Lex, PDQ.com. We are going to go through auto download options and like Mr. Spock says, isn't that Mr. Spock?
Really?
Dude, he does something. I know he does.
Colby knows that. There
it is. Okay, Colby.
Colby's got it down.
There we go. Spock on, dude.
And it's not Spock on. Oh my!
It's not.
Can I get a new co-host?
Get him out.
It's a little late to trade, Shane.
But yeah, we'll take you through it live. I can just sit here and laugh now.
Well done, Spock on. It's not a rock on. All right, whatever. Hey everybody, welcome.
All right. On that note, wow.
So let's make some smart. Let's make some
redeem ourselves.
Instead of just blasting out, deployments. Let's actually add some logic to it, and also just kind of let this do the work for you. Set it and forget it.
Absolutely. In the theme of set it and forget it, the great thing, auto downloads, right? Download it once, get your settings set, and let us send them to you on your schedule, pretty much
automatically.
So that being said, auto downloads. We're just going to go to preferences, auto downloads. Now, a couple things. I know that you've probably all seen this. It's in 18. We have enable auto download. If you go to your package library and you highlight, we'll say 7-zip, and I go into preferences, you notice right here, now that I almost covered it up, we've got the download selected. If I turn that off and hit save, change that to a standard download, which you can change, but it won't get auto updated as a new version comes out.
Correct.
But, I'll tell you what, I love the fact that I can be lazy and it can be sent to me. Mm-hmm. And again, you can set your times, immediate.
And what are those times, really quick, what do those times mean? Does that mean that's when it gets deployed? What does it mean?
Oh, basically, the setting I have right here is 7 days. So when a new version of 7-zip, Chrome, whatever I've downloaded comes out, it'll wait that many days, auto-approve it, and then download it onto my machine.
And if it gives you 7 days to approve it. If not, in this case, with this setting, 7 days to approve it. If you don't, you can approve it early.
Oh, absolutely. But why in the world would I think about that? I want it to do it automatically for me.
Just letting you know there's that option.
That is a good point.
So in 7 days it gets approved and the new version gets downloaded. But if it doesn't mean it necessarily gets deployed, then you still have to based off whatever schedules.
Absolutely. So that's there, and that's like your global setting. The other great thing is this, right? So I got Firefox here, right? And if you go look at your Firefox package in of itself, you can go to options, and right here, notice auto downloaded. Settings from preferences. So this one's set on the standard auto download. Now, let's say I wanted to do some testing of Firefox. So I go to Firefox, I can download another version of that, and I can change the auto download settings. So that version of it comes down earlier.
Correct. So technically you're doing the same version right now.
Absolutely.
What you're saying is maybe you want to have a sampling, a small sampling of computers that you will push out the next version of Firefox, so that you can just kind of test it and see if it works and is good for general population.
Yeah. So I like to name these. I would normally put word test in there because I can actually spell that word.
All right.
What would you like okay, we're just going to call it test.
Test is fine.
Bang. Now the nice thing, if you pen that at the end, when you get the new version, we'll keep that test on the end. Just the version name and that will change for you. So this one is set. I don't know if you noticed, I set it to come down immediately.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means that when we publish a new version of Firefox, when we publish our package, obviously we're waiting for Firefox for Mozilla, but we publish that. Once your console, your server sees that, it will grab, for this one package, it will grab, say, version 72. Now, if we want to have that set to deploy, just to a sampling, I always like to recommend that you push this out to look at your different business units and pick 1, 2, or 3 computers from each business unit, maybe marketing, engineering, etc. Don't tell I recommend not telling the people that they're going to be receiving a new version of something, because then anything that happens will be blamed on you.
Hawking something to Tomahawk. You said this yesterday. I'm like, how many hawks are in that?
Ergo hawking Tommy Hawk.
Tomahawk.
Hey, what? Yeah.
It's post hoc. The logical fallacy is known as post hoc ergo propter hoc.
See?
It happened after, therefore because. So it's one of those.
Once again,
if you tell, we'll call it Tony Hawk.
Yes.
So
sir.
if you were to tell somebody, hey, I'm going to do this to you, then honestly, there's we're talking to some human psychology, especially somebody who may not be technically astute. Will go, oh, I can't print now, or something has happened, therefore I know it's this, and they're going to complain and everything. The best thing to do is just don't tell them, and then if they don't complain, and make sure they're actually using this, and don't deploy Firefox to somebody in a test bed that never uses the thing. But if they don't complain, give it give it 5 days.
Absolutely,
give it at least 3 Mississippi, and then
3 Mississippi,
and then go it out to Gen Pop. But
I built a static collection with early adopters.
Awesome.
Are you impressed? I can actually type adopters. I had to spell it out while you were talking, man. So.
I'm here to give you some positive affirmations.
Spock on, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'd like to take that back. I'd like to remove my patting him on the back.
I was going to say earlier, the only post hoc that Lex knows is clearing his throat.
Tony Hawk. All right. On that note, thank you. I appreciate. Now I'm going to go drink myself into oblivion. That's actually not what I want to do. I'm going to set up a new schedule, and we'll just call this,
these are the early adopters of Firefox. Yeah.
And again, triggers, we're going to run this, I would say probably daily, because if it comes down, I want to go to immediate. We'll just send that out in the PM so they get it in the morning. Targets, I'm going to go choose that early adopters collection I just built.
And that was a static collection where you just specified computers.
Yeah, I picked computers for that specifically, and there it is. Bing, bang, boom. And the other nice thing, because I'm doing this daily, as long as I have this stop deploying targets once they succeed, not going to have a problem with it going. I probably should highlight that, yeah?
Yeah, as long as you have that, since you're running this every day at 11 p.m., as long as you have that, if a machine receives this version successfully, it's not going to get deployed again until the next version is released.
Absolutely.
Even though the schedule kicks off, it won't even pick it up. So.
And then,
and then we have our Gen Pop.
Gen Pop. You're thinking prison or something?
Yeah, why not?
General population.
General population. So if you don't have any complaints and it's passed your smell test, then you have this Gen Pop version, if you will.
Did you actually say smell test?
Yeah.
Oh,
the nasal appraisal.
It works for me.
You do realize that smell is one of the senses, right? For humans.
All three senses?
Have you done your homework yet?
No. Of course not. Why would I do homework, please? Hey, I was lucky to get most of this stuff almost centered. See, I told you one wouldn't be centered, so you check that out. Boom, there it is. Hey, Pop, Firefox. You guys are... Let's take a question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dear Shane and Lex, how can I add logic to a package to terminate if the target is connected via VPN? Tip, our VPN uses a different subnet. Thanks, Chad B.
A couple of ways you can do that. I like the tip. The tip almost sounds like I know the answer. Here's a hint. If so, well played, Chad. If you're truly asking and going, and by the way, no, there's a couple of ways you can do it. What Lex is doing here is an exclusion in preferences, in target filters. He's saying if this comes from this subnet, obviously
don't bother.
Put your subnet in there. Yeah. If let's say 10.0.10.0, if that particular subnet with that mask, any target falls in that address range, it's going to just say nope, can't do it. It'll stop right there. If you don't want to do the subnet, but you actually have a range, you can also just add a range. There you go. So that would say any machine that, with 10.0.10, 1 through 24, if that happens to be your VPN address range. Those are a couple of examples. You could also, this one is a catch-all, I think. The target filters is probably where you want to go, but there is a way you could do it also if you wanted to use conditions in your deployments and you have like an inventory collection that shows machines that have an IP address in this range, and you use a condition to say don't deploy there.
Yeah.
But if honestly, that's a lot of extra work because each deployment you're going to have to modify that. You're going to have to point to that somehow and say just don't do it if they're in this collection. The catch-all would be what Lex showed you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If you want, or we can keep on talking. We will. Let's talk all day long if you want.
I know.
We'll go back to talking about pinball.
Dear Shane and Lex, for Chrome, there is a step that says disable auto update. What do you foresee being a bad thing about deleting that step? Thanks, Stephen A.
Okay, so
First thing,
okay, go ahead.
if you delete that, you're gonna have to turn it into a standard package so you won't get the auto download. I would, if you want to take that out, just put the a post step in to re-enable it. Just undo it, and then you'll get the new version that comes down. It'll get disabled. You enable it in the post step, and
The reason we added that, honestly, the reason we added that was we had tinkered with it, and back when we introduced this Chrome package, the vast majority of people wanted that disabled because Chrome does have a fairly aggressive release schedule. At least they used to have a really aggressive one, and most of our customers wanted to be able to suss out new versions to make sure they didn't break popular web apps and stuff. So they just wanted that disabled. Now Chrome has made a lot of changes to the fact that you can disable it, but there will come a point where a new version, if it hasn't checked for, I can't remember what the exact amount, maybe it's like 90 days or something, there comes a point where that setting no longer even really applies.
Mm-hmm.
It will auto update. They've been doing that for a little while. But anyway, if you want the auto download, then do what Lex said by making a post step to delete it. Yeah.
undo that. But yeah, that being said, I'm going to build a package. And this is my favorite package ever. I'm going to name it the Deadly Reboot Package, right? And I'm not going to use spaces because I forgot to put it in there, not for any other reason.
Please don't interpret this as the fact that we can't handle spaces.
Just the fact I can't type very well. All right, so obviously I always need to send your end user a message, right?
So 2 seconds to read this message before
Save
I dare
work.
you to save. Well, you really don't like spaces.
Did I? Dang it! I did.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, there it is. So, all right, now this.
Good Lord.
Should I just move so you
Step
can
aside.
type?
Step aside.
All right, so this package in and of itself is kind of dangerous, right? I launched this on accident to the entire network.
Typing is a bridge too far for Lex. I'm sorry. Okay, I
we
dare
all
you.
do
I dare
this.
you to save your work. All right, so you've got to reboot. You got to reboot package. This is a. By the way, I do hope that most of you have just a standalone reboot package.
Absolutely.
Something that you can schedule. Hey, I want to reboot workstations on Saturday night at at 11:30 p.m. or something like that. It is good. It is good to go ahead and flush those systems every now and then. But
Issue. I launched this out the wrong time, right?
Yeah.
We get a good hard shutdown of SQL, the email server, the file server, and then Colby's going to be calling me up going, what the crap?
yeah, what happened? Why did I lose everything?
What in the world? So, this, and I'd probably be polishing my resume.
So we'll go over here. So there's a couple places where you can specify conditions, but we're gonna do this at the top level right now.
Package level, yeah.
But I'm also gonna let you. I'll let you drive again in a second. But go over to the conditions tab, and we're gonna go to the OS conditions, and we're just gonna uncheck servers. Now, by doing that,
Feeling better already.
yeah, by doing that, even if we were to deploy this inadvertently or overtly to a server, it would fail. Because this top level, it wouldn't even bother trying to process any of the subsequent steps. You could also do it at the step level. Come over here and say, turn that off. But honestly, if you're talking about a package with multiple steps, and you don't ever want it to go to a server or for whatever, if there's something that you just don't ever want it to hit, do the top level or the package
Package
level.
level condition. The other thing I love is the fact, this right here, I'm gonna circle this
now
guy.
you can come
Now
back
I can
over here,
drive.
man.
I can draw, barely. So the PDQ inventory collection. Now, I am significantly better at doing logic on point and click stuff here
Right.
in inventory. So let's say, for example, we're supposed to reboot our machines in the lab here once every 7 days, right? So I built
Take
this
care of our lab.
uptime.
I'm sure all of you do as well.
14, yeah. Uptime 14, days are 14. Give me any machine that.
All right, so you're building a collection that says only machines that have been online and uptime that's greater than 14 days.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, did I save that? I keep hitting the dang cancel bar date button. Okay. All right, that should update. And you'll notice
I guess all of them have. Yeah, well, look at the uptime, 128 days.
280
we
days.
take-
299. I'm trying to set a record.
We take care of our.
Apparently, I really don't know how to. Okay, Shane, can you make that 14 days? Because I've done it twice. And
Did we just catch a bug?
I don't know, man. Will you make that 14
What do you got?
days?
Hey, Colby.
I've heard from someone in the community that they've run into an issue where collections don't save before, but they said it's been random and hard to reproduce. And I tried to reproduce the bug as well, but I couldn't.
Interesting.
So if you just found a reliable way to reproduce it, then congrats.
Well,
Dude, look at that.
You know what it
it's
might
going
have
to be
been?
me doing it.
No,
14 days.
Honestly, it could be that. It could be. Hey, everybody, we're troubleshooting. So I'm going to just test this real quick because I used the control to go up. You did a type.
I just type in.
So let's go back to let's do 15 days.
Is it just the fact that I'm typing? This
I don't
thing
know.
just says
It's called
forget you.
troubleshooting. You should try it sometime. No, it works. So my
Is it me?
hypothesis was someone
It's
else.
got to be me.
I'm going to go ahead and say to you.
Dang it.
But let's bring it down to 10 days.
Like it's going to make a difference. You saw how long my lab's been running.
No, it took one machine out.
Oh, well, okay.
All right. So anyway, now this is going to be the target of.
Well, it's going to be a target. It's also going to be a condition that I can run at the
good point, good
step
point.
level of my deadly reboot. Are we going to? No, I can drive from here.
You can drive.
Right here. Only run this package if it's a member of uptime 10, which pretty much means everybody's getting a reboot, right?
I can't. There's no way to overstate this. How important and awesome this PDQ inventory collection condition is. When we first introduced PDQ deploy, we had two conditions: OS version, OS architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Then we added the PowerShell, we added logon state, etc. We realized we're just going to be chasing conditions. There's so many conditions that people have asked for. We're going to run out of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adam had this brilliant idea of, listen, let's just let most of the logic take place in inventory. So you can build a collection based off of whatever, and
Very complex.
then just say, use that. The condition here is it has to be a member of this collection, or it can't be a member of this collection, and the problem is solved. So all your logic, all that, we just saved all this real estate, and you have so much power at your hands to make your deployments much smarter.
Absolutely. Now, that being said, inventory data is only as good as your last scan. So I did it here at the package level, and I also duplicated it down at the step level.
Okay.
And, you're like, that's kind of redundant, but here's why I did
Explain
that.
why you did that.
I'm going to add a scan step in here. And since this is going off uptime, which exists in the computer info scan.
The scan profile computer info by default only scans the basic computer information, which includes uptime.
Yeah. Now, the thing about it is that our regular schedules, as long as a scan hasn't been done in the last 7 days, does scan. So let's say Monday, it scanned and my machine was outside that 10 days, right? But I happened to reboot it this morning, and this gets sent out today. The data in inventory in that case is old in regards to uptime. So what this is going to do, at this point, I'll qualify because it's a workstation. I'm also in the uptime greater than 10 collection. Reading's hard too. So it will run.
Lex is so precious. I love hanging out with you, man. I think I know why. Lex is one of the only people I actually kind of feel smart. Hanging around.
Great.
Colby's face right now is just, damn. Go ahead, buddy.
Love you guys so much.
I wish it was mutual.
So this is going to run on my machine. Well, the first thing it's going to do is going to scan the computer info and update inventory.
All right.
At which point, I will qualify on the reboot step at the condition because it's a workstation, but I will not at the uptime greater than 10, so my machine won't get rebooted in that case. So applying some logic and some...
So basically, just hurry and make sure that is going to be, that this machine hasn't been scanned in 10 days, in at least 10 days. So, okay, I like that. I actually like that.
Now, there's some other ones like file conditions or registry conditions. And the Windows 10, I don't know are we done with this one?
I'm sorry.
You're just looking ready to deploy this, and I was
ahead.
going to say we'll just send it to Colby's machine. Just kidding, man. I don't want to mess with him because I'm sure he would do 1,000 times worse things to my machine. But all right, so if you look at our packages, these are great templates again. And if you look right here, it's kind of interesting. Each of these steps has the same registry entry, which is, this.
Yeah, it's a registry condition.
Thank you.
It has the same registry thing.
Yeah, all right.
So this condition is basically saying this is how Microsoft has stored the release ID or the release. So the version, or this is 1803. So we just simply say since we're only doing the 1803 update, only deploy.
Now, why isn't that? I mean, if I look through the conditions here, it's not at the property level, which I guess.
Yeah, does anybody know why? Is this just because we built this? We started building these packages before we introduced the PDQ inventory or the package level condition? Because this really should be a package level condition.
Yes. For the longest time, we were publishing packages in deploy 14, and we added. I think we added these top level conditions in like 16 or something.
Okay, so
like
it's just kind of attrition. There's going to come a point where, honestly, in this case, it would make more sense for you. You've got a package that is only meant for 1803 patches. It would make sense at the top level to just
add that registry.
to add that registry condition. Make sure that this exists. I'm not going to type it all in because if it hits a machine that doesn't have that registry, it's not even going to bother running. Right now, it will process all of those steps, even if it's not 1803. So this will actually speed up your deployments because it won't bother trying to run any of those steps. It'll just say, okay, done, next.
So here's something that happens a lot. People add a reboot afterwards.
Yeah.
And because this will run on any OS, it'll skip all these steps and then it'll reboot a machine.
That is a gotcha. You bet. So this is one of the things we tried to overcome. A lot of I fell victim of this as well. You have your steps without a top level package condition. You would have all these steps that have these conditions, only 1803, and then you might post hoc say, Tony Hawk. You might say, I'm gonna add a reboot step, and you forget to put a condition in there. So then you deploy it to a machine that, in this, let's say, it does not have 1803, and it won't run step 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, let's go ahead and run this post-step reboot because there's no condition on there, and now this non-1803 machine, free at no extra charge, gets rebooted. So either put that condition, that registry condition there, or once again, if you do it at the top level, you're fine.
Yep. Just a few interesting gotchas. Should we take a question?
You bet. No.
No questions.
Throw it down, guys. If there's a question, I don't know.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to determine what computers and laptops have 32-bit versus 64-bit Office 365 installed? I'm going nuts trying to update all. Sincerely, El Dude.
Dude abides. How do you say abides in Spanish since he did L? I'd like to know that. Abido. We'll just say abido. El Dude abido.
Josh is
Or
gonna
probably
put
abido
it
El
up here.
Dude.
I got it.
Anyway, okay, so welcome to it. The Office has notoriously been a difficult one to determine what Microsoft calls the bitness.
The bitness?
Yes, they call it bitness. If good news, El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing, if you have Outlook installed as part of your Office 365, then Outlook does maintain a registry, unless it's changed in the most recent version. They maintain a registry called bitness, and you can. I don't know the exact location off the top of my head, but you can have a registry condition, or you can just create your collections to say any machine that has this registry entry. As long as you have Outlook. For those folks that don't have Outlook, there are some ways to do it, but it's not the easiest way. Not even that.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think that would be like regular program files if it's
You would
32-bit.
you would think because that has that. If you open that, well, we don't probably have Office on this.
No, we don't.
No, that's not the best way to do it.
Really?
You need x86. Yes,
Okay.
trust me. We've gone the rounds on this one. If you have Outlook, look for bitness registry. We have plenty of videos on how to create registry scanners. There's, in fact, once again, Lex has mentioned templates like with packages. If you go into inventory and go down to preferences, and I'm sorry,
Just
go to scan profiles.
Scan profiles, yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the scan profiles, we have just some registry run keys. That's just a default. This is mostly just an example of a scan profile that runs some registry stuff. So you can see how we're going to look for H key users. You can see there's some example patterns here. But you can see how we're grabbing this. If you run this, you're going to be able to see what is in the run key of and subkeys of your target computers. You would add maybe in your standard scan profile a registry scanner that would look for bitness for Outlook, and then that's pretty much that one you can pretty much take to the bank. If you don't use Outlook, reach out to our support. There's some ways you can do it. And boy, I'm just going to go ahead and tease it. When we do introduce PowerShell scanner, when we introduce the PowerShell scanner, there are ways that you can much more easily I would like to have this done. Chris did this a long time ago. Have that scanner go out and read the executable for Office, for example, and it will be able to see if it's a 64-bit or a 32-bit executable, and then we would populate that in inventory. So,
And when that comes out, everybody else will Spock on too, huh?
Colby, you want us to change places with
You
him,
gonna
please?
punch me?
I feel dirty. I feel dirty.
Do you want me to go grab the hug bat?
No,
I'm glad it's not in
I'd like you
here.
to grab a bat.
No hugs about it.
Let's not add any softness to it. I'm gonna go full Robert De Niro in Untouchables right now.
I was thinking you're
Kelly's
gonna
probably
do,
the only one who got that reference.
Sobachek on the Camaro or the Corvette.
Not Sobachek, it's Sobchak. He's
Sobchak.
trying.
I did. I like that movie.
Pulling out a good Big Lebowski
There
reference.
you go.
Anyway, that's if you probably do use Outlook, so look for bitness. You just Google that and you'll find it, and it'll be a slam dunk.
We got another question?
Scott actually shared the path in the chat.
Oh, did he?
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, Scott.
Get all up in my business. Dear Shane and Lex, to improve security, will we get package signing, just to be sure that a package is from PDQ and not altered? Sincerely, Selfman.
Okay, hey, Selfman. So here's the thing about that. We actually do sign. We do sign everything that goes up there, our packages. But here's one problem. If we were to put a checksum value on to say, hey, here's the checksum of this package. The problem is, you yourself wouldn't be able to verify. They are signed right now. They can't get up there if they're not, and they're signed with our certificate. However, we expand that whole a package actually is one file. Mm-hmm. It is one archive file, and because that contains all sorts of that can contain scripts, and that can contain the installation files and anything else, transform files, etc. It can contain a lot. We'll sign that one, but then it's kind of exploded when it gets down to your system, and you wouldn't be able to say, let me look at that checksum and verify that it's okay, because it's already been exploded. Mm-hmm. So I would just tell you right now that it is signed, but you don't download that package, that archive file by itself. Mm-hmm. That is something that is done inside the program, and then it's exploded. So, do you want to say something, Colpster?
Yeah, to add on to that, during the publishing process, we also have many steps to check all the files. It's like we upload things to VirusTotal. Mm-hmm. We check the signature of like all the executables and stuff.
Yep.
So we have many steps along the way in addition to signing the actual compressed package file.
Correct. Oh yeah, we do have the processes here in place where we do go out there and verify that. Mm-hmm. And we have done thousands and thousands of packages, and obviously all the different versions, and so far it's been good. But we do verify that it comes from a reputable source. We grab it from the vendor whenever possible. There are some times where vendors throw it to a different download site, but yeah, we verify that it is what you expect. And there have been times where we've downloaded something and it hasn't passed the smell test, and we won't publish it. Yep. And it saved us. We've had some customers say, "Hey, where is this? There's a problem with this," and sure enough, it'll hit the news. And so that's happened 3 or 4 times where I'm glad Glad we didn't rush that one out the door.
Yeah, I do remember a couple of those.
Yeah, one was one of my favorite apps in the world, Notepad++. There was a problem with that one, so got hacked.
And it's time to jump into the speed round. Dear Shane and Lex, is a computer moved to an old collection when a new package version is released or when the auto-download is approved? Sincerely, Big Bad Billy Z.
Okay, so you're saying looking at our convention for the collection library. Go to the.
I'll pull up variables. This is what we update.
Yeah. So, okay. So yes, if you look at the system variables, where Lex went, you can see all the variable names we use and their corresponding values. Looking at Notepad, for example, Notepad++. Let's go to appver.
Yep, appver for version numbers.
Yeah, you can see all these different versions. So when there's a new version of, iTunes, we'll put that version there, 12.10 2.3, right? If you have iTunes, then yes, you'll go up here, type in iTunes there, will you?
Really?
No, you had it. Yeah. Yeah. So once a new version comes out, and then we update, right after we update a new package, we will update the version in inventory, if it's one of those that we track in the collection library. Then after the next application scan, a target will end up getting moved over to the old, if it does in fact have that old. And we'll try to put the version up here.
Inventory checks in every couple hours? And it's going to go grab the new variable.
Every 2 hours.
Right?
Every 2 hours, yeah.
Every 2 hours. Grab the new variable. It'll update the listing in here, the variable on the collection, and then, yes, these will move, especially with your next scan.
Correct. So here, we try to throw that version in there where we can. So if you actually open this up, you'll see that we reference this. The systems with iTunes older than version, and then there's that variable. And you can create your own variables. Remember, your variables that you create, the custom ones, begin with an @ Anything that we do when it comes to the collection library and stuff, those system variables begin with a $sign. Those are the ones that you can't edit, but you can create your own, honestly. And that's that. By the way, you can also go to the collection library. So, like you had mentioned, it's every 2 hours is when if you keep this collection. Here's when we refresh. Here's when we check. When you open up inventory, the console, we'll go out there and check, even if it's been less than 2 hours since your last check. So when you open it, when you start the background service for inventory, or every 2 hours, and the fourth reason, if you just come up to the collection library and click Sync Now, it doesn't scan. All it's doing is going out to our servers and saying, update all these versions, make sure I have the latest. So
now, the other thing that's interesting, right? So if we look at Chrome here, right? I've got 22 machines with Chrome. 15 of the latest. You'll notice it's updating the membership as I click on it. If we were letting these update all the time, it sucks a lot of CPU, kind of bogs it down. So these get updated as you click on them.
Well, okay. I'm going to modify that.
Okay.
I'm going to modify it. We are constantly running. We're constantly running refreshes on this, or just collection membership. Constantly. We do have like half-second breaks so that it's not just non-stop pegging. It's important, but when you click on a collection, that moves that collection gets moved right to the next in line to be checked. That's what it does. It doesn't actually check it; it just moves it to the next in line. There's another process that checks that. So people will say, "Hey, I noticed that only when I select this does it get updated." There's been a couple of display bugs in the past that it might take a few extra minutes, but I can assure you, we've done this test here on the webcast before. That's pretty up to date. And here's another thing: it's anytime you reference a collection that gets put into the line. Guess what that means? If I have a deploy schedule for like Windows 10, in this case, it goes out to a collection as the target, and it's 11 o'clock at night or whatever. Just the fact that it's calling that collection gets updated next, and we're talking about nanoseconds. So anytime that collection is referenced, whether it's in a schedule or whatever, it's going to get updated, or it's going to get put right in the next in line. So, yeah, that's what it does. Though many of you have asked, hey, what? Really quick before the next one, have asked, why does inventory take so much memory? Well, number one, it's a .NET application, and .NET does grab based off the amount of available memory. .NET is pretty aggressive with the memory, and it grabs that memory, and then it doesn't relinquish that until it hits that limit. And once it hits that limit, it looks to see if there's any more available RAM. That's when the garbage collection comes in and it starts to throw out older items. So people have asked, why does inventory take so much memory? Well, it depends. If you have a machine with a lot of memory, a lot of available memory, .NET is just fairly aggressive with that. So, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I guess speed in speed round is subjective.
It's been a while. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just going to, okay, speed round. Sorry, guys.
Dear Shane and Lex, sometimes when Chrome is deployed, the installation is messed up and Chrome is unable to start. Do we have a way to check?
Really?
Selfman.
Marcel, what's going on over there, bro? Sometimes when Chrome is deployed, the installation is messed up. Are you talking about the package that we have is screwing something up? Or
Did it fail in the process?
And Chrome is unable to start. Do we have a way to check? I can see that there'd be a number of possibilities. That's the way to try to chase one down. You'd just be chasing the problem. And I can think of a lot of reasons why an application won't start. First and foremost, a missing library, or
Executable.
you run that executable, and well, first of all, if that executable isn't there, you're going to get an error message.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't have an appropriate library or something, then it may not start. But you're talking about so many possibilities.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need more information, Marcel.
Stumped. Lex, drink. Shane, you're fine.
Dear Shane and Lex, when a does not exist condition that preempts deployment is met, the status equals failed, but it's not a failure. How to fix? David R.
Hey, David. Yeah, that's been a discussion here for years. We tinkered a long time ago with the not applicable, and that did create a lot of confusion with some customers, and so we just kind of kept it as, it is kind of binary. It's just yes or no. So that means that not all faileds mean that the world is coming to an end. If you try to deploy this 1803 package to a machine that's not 1803, it doesn't meet those conditions, it's going to say failed, even though it
ran the way it was supposed to.
It ran the way it was supposed to. I suppose we could revisit that. I doubt we'll do it. We could revisit the not applicable column, but I guarantee we're going to get a healthy number of people pushing back saying, I just want to know if it was successful. If it wasn't successful, I don't care about it. I can worry about that later on. If you apply some appropriate logic to your deployments, you will cut down on those not applicable failures, because you're only deploying to those machines that is supposed to receive it. And then if it fails, you have a higher probability or confidence that there was a problem.
Hey, Shane and Lex, is there a stop on the development roadmap to add security profiles to limit staff from modifying package settings? Thanks, and hopeful, Chris G.
I'm looking at that. So
I'm just tilting my head.
I'm thinking that maybe you got central server. You've built a package and you don't want anybody else
To be able to do anything with it, keep it in your private folder, and then only you can use it. As for
Colby, did you?
security
I can
profiles,
talk a little bit about the roadmap, but we're not going to divulge too much. But you're nodding. Is there something you'd like to add to this?
I believe they're asking for a feature we've pretty much been seeing people ask for since Central Server, and that's like rules, like
you can only
role-based
deploy
access
it.
control and stuff like that. So yeah.
Gotcha. I can tell you that this, as far as we don't have it on a specific version, but it is definitely a discussion on how we can incorporate additional role-based security. Like, there's a number of options. I can mention some things that we bandied about. Doesn't mean that they're going to make it in there, but maybe you could have this as this person has the ability to build packages but not deploy. This person has the ability to deploy but not build, etc. But we haven't. We're still trying to figure out a way of doing it without making it overly complex and breaking the system. So we'll get there one of these days.
And a few more here in the speed round. Is there a... Oh, hang on. We did that one. Let's move. I would really like to have specific concurrency/performance limits per package. Till then, any workarounds? David R.
Well, when it comes to so what you're talking about, if we go to preferences real quick, and I know this is a speed round, so I'll try to move
Performance.
So here, the concurrent targets per deployment and the concurrent targets. So we have those, right? That's the 8 and the 32 in this case. That means that you deploy one package to 100 people. That one deployment will only do 8 at a time, and then but all deployments total will not go more than 32 connections. That's honored. What's not, the bandwidth usage, that is only on push mode.
Yeah.
And that's because... Yeah,
Control the NIC of the local machine.
there's not a way. There's not really a way we can do it right now. When we do pull, we just tell each computer to pull it from that source, and there's not a way to do it. If you're talking about the copy mode, limit bandwidth.
I wonder, was he talking about being able to set that concurrent targets per deployment at a package level? So it's like, this one's a teeny one. I'm going to send it to 100 machines at a time instead of just 8.
How do you interpret that, Colster?
Yes, they're definitely talking about the concurrent limit, and that is a feature request that I'm definitely pushing for.
Okay.
No.
So you can
ETA
set that at a package level then?
Yeah. For example, I have a package that deploys something that sends event logs to a server, and if I deploy that to too many at a time, it'll overwhelm the server. So I only want to deploy it to like 1 or 2 computers at a time. But most other packages, I'm fine with deploying like 32 at a time.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to have to change my global settings for that one package.
All right. Sounds like you got an advocate with Colby.
That is what David meant.
All right. Thank you, David. All right. Well, it sounds like we've got a good discussion ahead of us.
Maybe. The answer is maybe.
Yeah, as far as workarounds, probably not. I have like an idea for something crazy you could do with PowerShell, but nothing built into the application.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And our final question of the day, off topic. Where has Shane been the past couple of months? Sincerely, Evan R.
So
Hey,
I'll tell you the real story. I gave him a hug. His back popped. Just kidding, man.
He gave me a hug, and we've been in HR ever since. Thank you. There's been, I did take a little vacation, but for the most part, there's been some personal medical history in my family that I have had to address. And as the able-bodied person in the family at this point, it behooved me. So it was just some personal medical stuff that I couldn't ignore. And honestly, it's still going on. I could get a call that I have to leave right now. So
We missed you
sorry.
so much.
I have missed it. This has been fun.
yeah,
But
we've
as evidenced by the fact that I didn't care about the speed round.
Someone
I
wrote in
just
the
kept on
chat, they're like, did Shane quit?
Where's Shane? Well, I'll tell you, in all my
Tracking me
travels,
out
Shane,
here.
people still ask, you and Shane still hate each other?
We've never hated each other.
Never.
There's a difference between hate and disdain.
That's
Love it.
There's certain,
I got
certainly
no stain on me,
There's,
man.
there's certainly a difference between hate and complete and utter lack of respect.
that is true.
All right, everybody.
On that note, I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
go
Evan,
cry.
and
Thank
everybody
you.
else. Please don't cry. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Hope that you had a good Thanksgiving if you did that kind of thing. And we will see you next week, right?
Yeah, Spock on or rock on. Can't even do it right. All right, see you guys later. I'm giving up on that.
Rock on, everybody.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, David R. and Stephen A., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.